Hello, everybody. It is so good to see you. We're back from the lake. We had a great time. Most of the time, the temperature was in the upper 60s to low 70s. I stuck my foot in the lake, my toe, but it was cold and it did a lot of raining. But I've got to tell you this. It was just what we needed. We had been sick before we went. Mark was still sick on the way up there. And we just slept and relaxed. And I did a few things I will show you, but it healed us. We both came home feeling so much better. So sometimes you don't get the vacation you planned, but you get the vacation you needed. So let's see who's here. I am so glad to be back to see you. All right, let's see. Marsha's here. It's so good to see you, Marsha. Malcolm is here. Hi, sweetie pie. So good to see you. Laura's here. So you're happy for the strong cabinet that was formed. I thought about you during the election, hon. Polly. Hi, Debbie. It is nice to be back. I miss y'all when I'm gone. But this time you didn't even hear from me. I just laid low and just relaxed, and it was great. So, Laura, Alberta's here. Wait till you see Alberta's apple pie. I tell you the truth. I was looking at the picture of it last night. I said, I think I can smell that apple pie. I know that's impossible from Alabama to North Carolina, but I tell you what. So we've got a few good pictures. Like me, y'all have probably been real busy and haven't been creating. So I understand, it comes and goes, but feel free to send me any pictures of your current stuff you've even done in the past, because we love it all. And in fact, poor Debbie, I've been doing her waterfall quilt, but it looks like all the quilts on that same table are hers. So we're going to look at that picture today and look a little more closely at the other quilts laying on the table. So Kathy Klein is here. Pat Fry. Oh, thank you, Pat. Pat is the sweetest thing. When I went to the Myrtle Beach quilt party, she happened to be in town and she took the time to come and spend time with me. And she's glad she did, because she got a pashmina, one of those Indian shawls from a lady who had came home with a bunch of them and gave them away. So that was nice for her. But it was wonderful spending that time with her. And I was so touched she would take time out of her busy day to come see me. I was lucky. Sonia, hi, sweetheart. I have been thinking about you, Miss Sonia. And Michelle Lang is here. Yay. So, oh my gosh, Kathy Klein is here. I love all of her happy icons that she puts with her messages. And Jody, wait till you see Jody's wonderful, I'm going to call it a postage stamp, a neutral postage stamp. Wait till you see that. It's been quilted. It's lovely. So it is so good to see all of you. Oh, thank you so much. It was a very, very good trip. And it was so funny because we said we're just kind of hunkered down. We finally set up the gazebo and 2 chairs outside and a rug. And then the dog pens. You have to set up the dog crates because we camp with 3 dogs. You've got to set up the dog crates so they won't irritate any other campers or get lost. And that would break my heart. So, but we barely set up outside. I didn't even put up my hammock. I said, when we get home, can I set up my hammock in the sunroom for the summer? So I think that's really good. But it was a really good trip. No problems on the way up or there, on the way back. And in fact, we no longer have DirecTV. We have YouTube TV. And it's cut our bill in over half. So we were very happy with that. But it meant Mark used to take a self-finding, self self-tracking satellite dish, and he would find our DirecTV, and then we could watch anything like as if we were home. Well, now we can't do that. And so one day when he was feeling a little bit better, we knew it was going to be continue to be rainy and cool. So he rode his motorcycle bike up to the Walmart and bought us a digital antenna. The motorhome has an antenna on the roof, but it's the old style, which no longer gets signals. So he bought us a digital one for like $29. It was just, and we ended up getting about 15 channels. Now, we watched a lot of 70s shows, 60 shows even, all the old cowboy shows, Perry Mason and all of that. But it was wonderful because we had taken movies to watch. But when you watch a movie, you kind of have to pay attention. And we were like zoned out. I've got a picture that I'm going to show during show and tell. And you see my feet, but it's looking across at Mark, and he's like back on his sofa, just kind of with the eyes half shut. It was so cute. So anyway, but I've missed y'all and I just found out that Miss Tina Turner passed while we were gone. I'm really sad about that. But boy, 83, who would have known it? She did not look her age. Amazing woman. And kept those legs right till the end. Man, oh man. But the quilts on the table at our show are yours. I'm so sorry. It was so funny. I was going through last night. I was going through photos, thinning out ones we've seen repeatedly. And I saw a sign on that table. So I enlarged the photo and it said quilts by Debbie. And I was like, quilts, plural. And they are some really, really pretty quilts. So we'll definitely check that out. Oh, hi, Diana Bicknell. Hi, sweetie. So you're back from vacation. Very good. In fact, I need to send an email to the other Diana because I think she was due to have surgery. So we'll see. Hi, Sandy. Oh, hey, Sandy. It's good to see you. So even though you might not remember me, it's been a few years, but it's so good to see you. So I still think of you and Patrick and your amazing dogs you've had, and bet you're happy you don't have to have our terrible thunderstorms anymore. Remember the thunderstorms in North Carolina? They were not fun. So, and I know you love being up there with those grandbabies because they are pretty amazing grandbabies. So one of the things that I want to make sure to talk about is Thursday night. This is graduation season, and my granddaughter Charlie is graduating Friday night. So my daughter from Maryland she had already had a trip planned to come up here. So she's going to be with me Thursday and Friday. And then I just wrote her because I thought, ooh, I've got a show scheduled for Friday. It was going to be my welcome back to Third Art Quilt Thursday, this Thursday. So I said, So I've written her to see if she wants to bring some of her Etsy products that she keeps in her Etsy shop. Pearl and June is the name of her Etsy shop. And then I thought, ooh, could she bring some of her felt art? She's an amazing felt artist, a wool felt artist. You won't believe the things that she can create. So I'm hoping to hear back from her. If she would like to bring some things to do a Thursday night show, then I'll do it. If she is not sure she'll get here in time or she'll be too tired, then I might have to cancel Thursday night show. And I hope you'll understand, because time with her, she's the one that lives on Maryland's Eastern Shore, and I never get to see her enough. So I hope you'll understand. That to me comes first. Yes, Sandy is with Michelle. Sandy is Michelle's husband, and big tall guy. I mean, honest to goodness, he's like 6'3" or something, and he has a son that's like 6'7". Very tall guy, Sandy, and I think his real name is Alexander, and they've shortened his nickname to Sandy. Nice guy. All right. So now I guess what I'll do first is show you what did I do on my vacation, because I wasn't in the hammock and I wasn't in the lake. I even bought new floats. Cheap Deb. I bought new floats. Couldn't even take them out of the package. And they're a little too big to go in the bathtub. So we'll have to see. Okay, here we go. So I've got something really exciting to show you. My daughter, Katie, who's coming to visit, gave me one of these dollhouse room quilts. She gave it to me for Christmas, and I was so excited to break into that. But it's a bunch of little pieces, and you have to concentrate. Well, it was perfect to do on a rainy camping trip. Absolutely perfect. So if I can show you, I'll show you first the back of it. Now, this is the lighting to the little battery case. But look at my cute little awning on the window. And look at the cute little planter box. And I've noticed the prices come down on these. So I haven't told Mark yet, but I want more of them because I always wanted a dollhouse. But what do you do with a big old dollhouse? You know, where do you put it? And I have so much sewing stuff. Where would I put it? But these are great because they can go on a bookcase, and they are magical. If any of you love, you know, it's like, I think, oh, I would love to have this room, a she shed out back, and have it look just like this. But okay, so if none of you, did he hear me say hi, Michelle? Hi, Sandy. So I'm hoping he heard. But look at this. Now, you will be surprised that this right here, this chandelier, is a little clear bead, little pearl buttons. These, the things that the pearl buttons are on are beads, and then the chandelier arms are just wire. And then, see this right here, this little light back here? That is just beads, wire, and I twisted wire and made a little paper lampshade. So when the kit comes to you, comes in a flat box, and you make everything. Now, these little plant pots, of course, were just little wooden plant pots. Oh, hi, Sandy. It's so good to see you. So, but like this little bitch, those little diamonds are just little paper things you stick on, little paper colored diamonds. This is just a piece of wood here, here, and here. And on the back, see the back, it looks like wood. That's just paper. The bed, the tables, they're all just little pieces of wood. Like here, I put the two end pieces on. Then see these little containers right here, this little one? They're just little paper, and you take a wire and you roll a little piece of paper around it to make it look like a handle. Then I love this cute little dog, and I took my candy wrapper and made a dog bowl for the dog. These doors were pre-made, but see that handle? That is just, you take wire and shape it and glue a bead on it. Now, if you want to end up doing these make sure you get some silicone glue. That's the magic, because that silicone glue, it takes a while to set up, but when it does, I mean, everything I glued is rock solid. So then you take and you cut up little pieces of plants, and you take the pretend pots and you glue the stuff down in them. And like this, it comes with a little baggie of little foam balls that you have to chase around because the static gets them. And then I dipped the greenery into some of the silicone glue and then rolled it in the foam balls. Look at that. Isn't that cute? This, I just silicone glue on the outside and silicone glue this little piece of trim. But at first, it's a little overwhelming to look at all the directions because they have to be multilingual. And so just take your time. Now, it's good if you can try to follow the picture directions and stuff, but sometimes, Deb, kind of squirrel, I just get going in a different direction. So this basket was supposed to be small enough to fit on the table. And they give you this little burlap. And to make a basket, you fold in the edges, and that makes it stiffer. And then it comes with little paper that you put on the bottom. And then I took some of the little dried flower stuff to put in there. And then it even has a little tiny sticker on it. Let's see if that'll come into, because see that little sticker you glue on? I made the basket so big, it ended up becoming a floor decoration. You have the paper floors you glue down in the plate. You have the paper wallpaper that you glue onto the walls. But like that dresser is just, it's not real furniture. You just glue these little shapes in the right configuration, glue it against the wall, and it looks like a real dresser. Isn't that amazing? And then see the hat boxes? They're papers that you roll it around. And I mean, it's just all of this stuff. Oh, the books. See that there is a journal right there. And do you see that what looks like a pen? That's a piece of a toothpick, and it tells you how to make it into a pen. And if you look, I mean, a little wire I had to wrap around it, to make it look like a pen. But what I ended up doing is taking a scrap of the burlap and making a little tiny table basket. And then the material that came for the rug, I ended up kind of ruffling the edges to make it look more like a rug. And you see the little journal? So it comes with these pre-printed pages, and you cut them out, and then you accordion fold them, and you glue them, and you're making tiny little books. Let me see if you can see on that shelf where it says family. Those I ended up making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books, I think, and a newspaper. Oh no, here's 3 more. 10 books I made. Isn't that funny? Now the light bulbs, those are pearl buttons. The light is these little tiny LED lights. I made the little bunny portrait on the back with some little gold balls around it. Do you see the flower vase? The flower vase is a bead that you can glue flowers in the top of it. Then there's a little bracelet on the nightstand. See that? Isn't that cute? So I had the best time in the dresser. That floral design or papers that you glue on the back of the little wooden doors. Now, do you see that jar, that green jar that is sitting on that dresser? That is 2 gold parts, what are they called? Snaps. They're the 2 parts of the snaps. I guess they're the male part end of the snap that are gold. Then you take a piece of paper and you glue it in a tube, and you then glue the snaps on top and bottom, and you would think that's a real little jar. So Isn't that? And then the plate is just a piece of paper glued onto like a button back, and then you glue it into place. And then look at the wire basket. Do you see right there is a wire basket? It is, oh, now I forgot. What do we call it? That netting the netting material? And you form it to make a little basket. And then you take these incredibly thin and small little paper pieces, fold them in half, put some glue on, and put on the edge of the basket. So it looks like a wire mesh basket. And then you take colored, colored pieces of paper and roll them to look like fabric. And then here you use your leftover bits of real fabric and glue it to make a little stack. So it's just, there's so much. I mean, look at the paintings on the wall. You take the little, they have the picture in color, nicely printed paper. Then they have this other paper. It's the same size, and you cut all together. It's 4 layers thick to make it look like a photo on the wall. I can't tell you how absolutely fun this was. I was so obsessed. The bed, what's supposed to be the mattress, is a piece of paper. The drawer handles are wire that you form, and that's why you need to have the silicone glue, in a nice bottle with a thin spout, so you can put it on. Because when I stuck them on the dresser, the wires are just going, it looks like it's a handle with a base. It's just paper. And so you put the silicone glue, see on that dresser? And if you, let me see if I can get my big hand in there. They are so, I can't in this angle, but those handles are so sturdy. They won't go anywhere. And that's just a little piece of wire stuck with glue. So the bed has a piece of paper, and you cut and you fold based on the design, and it creates a mattress. And then I glued everything down because I didn't want anything falling out. Once I had it done. The name of the company. Oh, and don't forget, sign your work and the year, because I'm hoping my kids will take this one day. I don't remember the name, but I know they got it off Amazon, and I'm going to get more. And take a look between the different ones. Make sure you get one that has lots of, some of them are a little cheap, like, we want to do this and capture part of the market. But make sure you get a good company. And I think when she bought this one was closer to $30, but the price has dropped. I'm going to buy more. They give you all kinds of lace to make lace curtains. I need to find a similar piece to right here. I didn't want big, long, lacy curtains. I like the open look so you can see through everything. But they give you everything. Everything you see here comes in the kit. But it's just cute because you're like, what is this? The little hand shovel right there for the planters. The end of it is just paper that was printed to look like a silver hand shovel. And then the handle you make yourself out of the wire. And it comes with the little battery charger. Doesn't include batteries, but it comes with the wire, and it's just 2 little tiny LED. And like I told you, that lamp right over the bed, that lamp right there, right back in that corner, it's just, you can see part of the wire on it. It's a twist of wire to give support to the shade. The shade is a piece of paper. You cut it out and glue it like they show you. So I have had so much fun. And these are going to sit on, I'm going to make space on my bookshelf. And these are going to have a place of honors. So, what's Dolores? What'd you do? Oh, honey. Oh, congratulations. A new baby. Oh, if the parents don't mind if you show pictures, we would love to see that baby because we all love grandbabies, don't we? So, okay. So that was the first thing I did, and I just love it. So I know if you go on Amazon, you can find them, and just really take your time to look at the kit and check for detail, because that's what's so much fun. I did that in 2 days at camp, and it takes 2 days. Like the pillows, you take and glue the little bits of fabric together. Then they give you stuffing. Then they give you lace that you glue that on, and so nothing is sewn. It's just glue, and it it's magical. When I look at it, I picture myself, I always wanted a dollhouse and have never had one. And this is the close. I love miniature stuff too. So that's one thing I spent a lot of time on. Then another thing is this won't surprise you a bit because we were so tired. And so I spent time making beads. I took some pre-cut strips. Well, actually, when I was there, I made some too. And I did beads for 3 days. It was wonderful. And I love it because it's mindless. People have said, well, what are you going to do with them? I don't know. I told Mark it's nearly free. I buy a gallon jug of glue, and it's something that I can sit in the evening. I love the process. I love rolling the beads. I love spreading the glue out with my fingers. I love the textile. I mean, what do you call it? Not textile, but I don't know. I love the feeling. It's when you love the feeling of doing something. But I took some inexpensive fingernail decals and decorated some of the beads that I made with white paper. These are tactile. Thank you, Paul. Oh, look, Laura, Polly, and Sonia, thank you. That word just went right out of my brain. So, but these are just beads made with Tyvek or white envelopes. I call everything from junk. I don't buy anything to make them. I just call junk mail. So what I'm doing now, here is a bag. When I make a bead, I'll show you. And look at the different colors. This is all junk mail. Isn't that surprising? And some people would say, yeah, it's junk. But it keeps me busy. It's part of my diet plan because when I'm busy doing this, I'm not tempted to snack. But when I make a bead, see how it's a little rough on the edges? Like this shows too much white there and it's too thin there. Well, what I do is I sit with my scissors, and after the glue dries, after I've made them, I've kind of learned. I was trying to use a sander. That was a lot of work too. So now when I make a few, then I take my scissors and I trim the edge up. I've showed y'all that before. So here is a bag of beads that I've already trimmed. They're ready to be like these white ones. We'll have decals put on them, or I'll paint them. I just got in today a pack of little puffy paints. They were 10 little bottles for $8 and something on Amazon. And have you ever seen lamp work glass beads where they take a glass bead and then they take these fine little rods and they melt the rod on the glass bead, make flowers, vines, whatever? I thought I could use puffy paint and try to do that. And now I'm going to try it and then show you next week how it worked out. But when I have a white paper bead like this, that's perfect. Even something like that would work really well with it. But I've got just all different kinds of beads. And what I look for is I look for interesting paper. And like this one, and what happens is the words on it, when you just see it from a distance, it looks like color. But I just get a kick out of this. And one day I might put a batch of them on Etsy and just let people do what they want with them. I might give some to schools, especially maybe some special needs schools, because this is really good for occupational therapy, which is helping them practice using fine motor skills, things like that. So I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do with them, but they make me happy. And let me tell you, if you have a hobby that you just buy a gallon of glue a year and make sure you have a good bead roller, or you can use a toothpick or a wooden skewer or chopstick or whatever, and that's all you spend and your supplies come from junk mail, I think it's fun. Anyway, so that is the other thing I did. And the rest that I did, oh, actually, I did the last day or two. I worked on my Alex Anderson neutral quilt, and it's coming along really, really well. So now let me see. Oh, yes. Oh, thank you, Mary, for explaining that. Thank you. Yeah, because you can make necklaces. I like making scissor fobs. Do you see this one? Inexpensive beads, a cute little charm that says, I love sewing. Inexpensive little beads. And see these beads? They're made with the inside an envelope security paper. They print this inside of the envelope so you can't peek through to see what's in it. So those are just security papers from the mail. And so that, I like making scissor fobs, whatever. I took my granddaughter's play program and turned it into beads and gave them to her. And she has them hanging in her car because it's pictures of all her friends from the program and her. And so that's fun. All right. So that's what I did at camping. It was really good for me. So thank you for being kind and giving me that leeway to be able to go have fun. So, because we were thinking, why are we even going if it's going to be cold and rainy? Because when you're home, you probably know this. You can't feel like you can just relax like you can when you go somewhere and you couldn't even do stuff around the house, even if you wanted to. That's when I'm home, I notice all the things that I should do. And if nothing else, it makes me anxious. So getting totally away is a good thing. All righty. The dogs were wonderful. They loved it. They love going with us because they get so much more of our attention. So it was wonderful. Oh, how nice. I love that. Thank you all so much. All right. So one thing the couple things I'm going to do today is talk about our nod to the 19th century blocks. I've promised Mary I'm going to design 3 more and I will have them out by tomorrow because I plan on tonight when I'm relaxing to work on them because I enjoy that. I enjoy making the instructions for those blocks. So I'll have 3 more by tomorrow. And plus, I want to wait till I show you these blocks. They are gorgeous, and I can't wait to put it together. I ordered a new cone of what is the kind of thread? Issachar. Leah Day recommended Issachar thread, and it's an embroidery thread, but it's made to be very strong. So the high speeds and the constant moving around of a long arm or any quilting, it's wonderful. So I ordered a nice ecru color thread that I'll do an all over pattern on this. Then I want to tell you our next project that we're going to do. I know I put these up here to remind all of us that I am going to work on, it's under here. Oh, okay. There's even more little beads. Look at these little beads are so pretty. They came from some kind of mailer. And the color, the gentle color in these, I made these when I was gone too. And once I put probably 3 coats of sealer on them, they're gorgeous. In fact, let me show you something. The sealer makes them feel and look like real beads. Let me show you. Okay, here is a round paper bead that I put decals on. And let me find one that shows really good with the, see how you can get it to shine? And so it just, that was the other thing. All right. I took my Zen Safari. I thought I'll certainly have it all drawn, because remember, we're doing shapes on it, and then we're going to quilt it and then paint it. That's why I put those up there. Those are all hand-painted mandalas. But I even printed out a bunch of African designs so that when I was at the lake, I wouldn't need internet, because we don't get internet at the lake. But I didn't feel like doing it. And the beauty of vacation is you do what you want. Even if you can't leave your house, have a couple days where you plan in advance what you want to get done, and you don't do anything else. You tell all the dust bunnies to be quiet and go lay down, because you're not going to pay attention to them. But I need to work on this, get that quilted, and I wanted to remind you we still have that to do. But I was thinking, what other project do we want to start for our Sunday show? And, oh, I got a great recommendation from Debbie, I think. And what that was is she said, you know how we're going to start a triptych is going to be our next project on Art Quilt Thursdays. And a triptych is a piece of work done in 3 sections. And I've been asking y'all to think of what you'd like to get done and what kind of project. And you can always do anything you want. You don't have to go with the flow at all. But she wrote back and said, what do you think of earth, wind, and fire? I thought that was amazing. So we're going to decide the next time we get together on Thursday. Keep thinking. Feel free to send me your suggestions, and we will get busy and work on that. Okay. Now, what I thought I would do is show you really quickly. I did this star, and I told y'all last time that I wasn't happy with how it turned out. This is a bordered star. That's what you call it, a bordered star. But because I use scrappy fabrics, to me, it breaks up the pattern. I have a very simple brain. It likes everything in order. I'm sorry. And so I'm going to show you how to take the pieces out and put new ones in. Because sometimes it's a little intimidating. You know, it's like, oh, gee. But I'll tell you this. It's a lot easier to do it now than to wait until after you've quilted it. And also, I'm going to give you a little teaser for next week. when in cleaning out my drawers and getting rid of junk, I found some old shoulder pads, and I cut them into these wedges. You see these? I cut them into these wedges. I'm going to turn these into something very cute and very useful. Okay? So next week, I'm going to be ready to show you how to turn this into something very cute and very useful. So if you have any old shoulder pads or little pieces of foam, grab them, and you can either, I'm going to show you two shapes that you can cut them both the same, but one shape you could do would be this shape, like a little Pac-Man shape, or what I've got, either what I've got right here, which is a wedge, or a little Pac-Man shape. And I went with this little wedge because there wasn't enough there to cut the other shape. And we're going to make something next week that's really, really cute. Okay? And useful too. Not just another thing to clutter up your space. All right. So what I did while I was first talking to you, and don't forget, if you want to get my attention right in all caps, it helps me see you. But I starched these little strips of fabric. Now, the reason I starch them, especially, in fact, I'm going to starch the whole block again, because when you go to take pieces out of a block and put new pieces in, you need all the help you can get. And by starching the fabric, it will allow you to more easily put the new pieces in. All right, so now let me turn the camera down, and I'm trying to, don't let me forget to tell you about Textile Talks. I have found it and I love it. So don't let me forget that. All right, here we go. So now I'm going to bring you down here. Whoops. It's really tight. Hold on, guys. Boy, Mark put this on real good. Okay. And it's pulling it just a little. So I'm going to pull it back and tighten it. All right. So here, whoops. All right. So this is one of the offending stripes because I love this banded star. This is one, this is another. So actually I have 4 of these. Now I went looking through my scraps and I found this little piece, and I had made these stripes to act as the sashing. But on this one, it was too narrow to use as sashing. So I'm lucky that I can replace the fabric. And it's just the right space. Let me bring this back. Okay. Okay. Whoops. He really put this on. Hold on just a second. It's kind of getting in the way of this. All right. So I'm going to take a very good seam ripper, and you do not want to tear these fabrics in getting the other one out. So I'm going to come in here, and about every 4th thread, I'm going to come through and break. Okay, cut or break. I just pull hard on it. And I have actually worn out a seam ripper because instead of going all the way to the end and cutting it, I just prefer to give it a little snap. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Then I'm going to come over to this side of this piece and do the same thing. And by loosening up these threads, it decreases your chance of cutting the fabric, because cutting the fabric changes everything. Then you've got a repair or replacement to make, just more work. But by cutting enough threads, you can loosen it and then go through and cut the threads without that same risk of cutting the fabric, okay? Never just stick that in there and just go, because I guarantee you, you will cut the fabric. All right, I think one time I was in a class and was helping them take some stuff out, and I accidentally, made a little nick in someone's fabric. I had to fix that. But that's right embarrassing when you're the teacher. But I don't know why I tell you all this stuff, but it happens. Life happens. Okay, I can tell that was too tight. It wanted to tear. So I'm going to come back over here. And you know what? I need more light. That's the problem. These old eyes are... Actually, I'm very lucky to have pretty good vision. But all right, come on, Deb. Get it? And it's always harder when you try to do this on camera. Man. So what I'm going to do, I couldn't really see it good enough. So what I'm going to do is pull it and then cut the threads this way. So I do not want to cut the fabric. All right. So just about there. There's more than one way of accomplishing this. I didn't want to say skin the cat because that makes me feel sad. Okay. I'm not a cat fan, but I don't want anybody to skin it. All right, now. Oh, I tell you, I was checking Lisa Capin's site, and she's moved into her new house. She has a quick little tour of the house, and she's moved. They've got a generational home. I'm so excited. Wait till you see her new studio. Oh my gosh. But she's got her parents living in an adjoining house. And I'm so happy for her. She's a hard worker. All right. So just quickly try to get this out. And if I had gobs of fabric, I would even just try pulling apart the threads. But since that can rip fabric, let's don't do that. All right, now let me get this. All right. I will only do one replacement because this is like watching paint dry. Okay, let's see. It would have been nice if I'd have had it mostly done. But then I guess I wouldn't be Deb. All right. Let me get a few. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So now, boy, I sewed this together really well. I'm so proud of myself. I had no idea I was going to be taking it apart. So this part takes time. Oh, and another thing, I've been busy this weekend sewing a new swing cover, and I'll show you that before we go. And I can go ahead and tell you real quick about the textile talks. I don't know how I found this. Somehow I got now I've pulled this offending piece off. And I'm going to just iron it out because that way I can make an exact copy from my scrap down here. So, all right, it's pretty good. I'll just do a little trim along each edge. But anyway, the next textile talk it's like they're every Wednesday, and they're done by a group of people. Sakwa is one of the sponsors, and which I've always thought I would love to join that group. Okay, so here is my replacement piece. So what I'm going to do, and in this, I will use pins for this. Sometimes, I get impatient and don't want to use pins, but I will use this. But don't ever be afraid of going back and making something right. What I have found in life, if I don't go back and fix it, I will always see that one spot that could have been better. And you know what? That takes all the joy out of it for me. So even if it's all put back together, it's really not that hard. Oh, and let me show you something. Okay, so I was looking at this. I was looking at this before I started to do it. Hi, Cheryl. Oh, you can be distracted anytime you want. Okay, I was looking. This is the piece I didn't want. So I'm thinking, okay, how do I put this in? I go, well, don't touch these two. It's best to have one long seam. So just take it loose here, 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 long seams. And that way you don't touch this. So just do it the simplest way possible. Because if you were to try to take it off, if you make it too hard, then you'll get into bias edges. You'll get into a mess. So now you see why I starch the fabric and I starch the block. So what I'm going to come in here and do is I'm going to pin it to this side first, okay? Because it belongs to this block. It doesn't belong to that one. It finishes this block. So I'm going to sew it back in the order that it would have been sewn in the beginning, okay? Now, make sure, I'm going to move this down just a touch. I want to make sure that I have enough to go into the seam allowance. Okay. So it has to go as long as the original piece so you have enough for the seam allowance. Now, come right over here. I'm going to make my stitch length smaller. Anytime I do something where it's really got to work and work well, then I will shorten my stitch length. I'm going to put it at 2.0. And then I'll come in here and sew 1/4 of an inch. Now, I'm going to give you another hint. Let's say you're a little nervous about fitting it in. Never hesitate to sew it in by hand. Because, see, what I've got to do now, I've got to try to make it fit right back here. If, because it was sewn in on 3 sides. So here's the first one, looking good. That's easy enough. That was very easy. Now I've got to sew it across here, and then I have to sew it to this side. So if that makes you nervous, stitch it by hand. Okay, it's called basting, and it makes it very easy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew it and stop at 1/4 of an inch from this edge. All right. Now I've got my short stitch length. I'm going to bring it right in and stitch at 1/4 of an inch and stop. Whoops, hold on. I looked up at the camera and went off course. Okay. All right. So bring it in, short stitch length, and stop before I get to the next section. Okay. I'll come right up to the seam and stop. Okay. Then cut that. All right. So now, pressing the seams to the dark. Now I've sewn it up here and there. Now I'm going to take and fold it. This is why you need the edges loose. You stop right before you get to that. Because now for this side, you've got to have, and I'm going to nip a little thread to open this seam to make it a little easier. See where that was kind of caught? Now I'm going to come in here. I'm making sure I've got all my seam. Make sure, like, you know, some of them want to fold funny because it's already been sewn. So just open it out, have everything nice and smooth. Line up your seam. I'm going to pop a pin in here and a pin down here. Make sure everything lines up good. All right, then I'm going to come and sew and start a little bit back and then sew, because that way you won't have any seams opening up. It's like a lock stitch. That's basically what you're doing. All right. So sew down this 1/4 of an inch. All right. And take these pins out. Then I'm going to come over to the ironing board. Hold on. Whoops. Don't act. Well, I can't. He put that. Well, maybe I can. He put that rubber band on that camera really tightly. All right. Now, give a little bit of starch. Starch is my friend. My accuracy really improved once I started using starch. Okay, now here we go. Let me bring you back up. By the way, all right. Can you see where it is? Can you see what block I fixed? And it's this one right up here. And see, now to me, my eye follows the pattern better, especially with the blue. The blue just was too different. The burgundies weren't as bad, but I love that braced star or bordered star look. And so now you see I replaced the piece and it works just great. All right. It looks good. All right, so that I just thought I'd show you. I like if I can take some of the mystery out of it, make it a little bit easier for you, then that makes me happy. All righty. So, oh, I know what I wanted to show you. So this, I want to show you the blocks again because we've been doing this for a couple of months. And when I reviewed the blocks today, I was like, wow. And I love that they have a mid-18th century look. So there's this one that I'm going to finish fixing. Then I've started one. This is going to have a lot of some rectangles, but a lot of half square triangles that make it look like miniature flying geese or a little bit like a pineapple block. So that's 2, 3, and this is all free on our website, or just write me at OurTimeToQuilt@twc.com and I will send them to you. Isn't that pretty? When I saw this fabric, I knew what I was going to do. And I had saved these blocks for a couple of years because if I see a pattern that I really like, so now I've lost count. 1, 2, somebody's going to have to count them for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I forgot that I even made this one. Isn't that nice too? And I think it's directional fabric. So kind of this way, this way. When you fussy cut fabric, remember if it's going to be on point or not. This square in the center is on point. So it's tricky to figure out. You know, you have to kind of think these things through ahead. Right? A Jacob's ladder. I really, really love these blocks. My very favorite, if I had to pick out one simple block, this would be it. Card trick. I wish I knew the name to all of these. I only know them as block 1, 2, 3, whatever. That's a nice one too. And I think I had to do some replacing. A couple of these I've gone back and replaced the fabric. Lost total count, but as long as I have 15, I'll be happy. Oh, this is the one I went in and replaced these fabrics because I tried to add blue to it and you lost the shape. I love that shape. So don't be afraid. Like I say, do not be afraid to go in and change something because otherwise you'll let it sit in a closet and you won't enjoy it. Whoops. This goes this way because I fussy cut everything. And you notice there's a common theme of having a center square and a square or center fussy cut block. So anybody have any idea how many? Oh, in fact, yes, Mary. Mary had she was having a hard time understanding what is Deb trying to tell us to do? So she found a wonderful tutorial and I had it written down to share with y'all. Now I've lost it. Well, actually, I didn't lose it. My printer is acting up and it won't print for me. So, but I think I put it on the site and I think the last week I talked about it, but I like showing y'all things a couple times in a row because, we get busy and it's like, what was I thinking? What was I supposed to do? So, all right. So those are the blocks. And then I have this 13th. And then I'm going to make at least 3 more. I want 15 blocks. I want it 3 across, 5 down. I'm a traditionalist in that way that I like rectangular quilts. Square quilts, they just bother me. So, do what makes you happy. But for me, those are 12-inch blocks. Oops. Oh, don't touch anything. Oh, Mary, you're such a sweetheart. I love teaching. And, I'm mostly self-taught. And at first I was self-conscious about that because, you have people like Alex Anderson who have art degrees. I didn't finish college. But sometimes I think that my being mostly self-taught is a blessing because I can kind of explain it maybe in a way that helps. Where sometimes, oh, Mary, you're so cute. And so maybe I can explain it in a way that makes sense. And because sometimes I tell you, when I try to read directions or whatever, it's like, what? So, and I'm a verbal learner, a visual learner. So I tend to explain that same way too. All right. Now, couple little other things to remind you of. Do not forget that the second week of July, we are going to do a Bargello quilt, and it won't be this difficult. Once you've at least made one, then you can get this. And I think this was a free pattern, or was this the one I purchased? One I purchased and one was free. And, but anyway, but I will have it designed for you. And I want to remind you, I've still got that last showing. I haven't touched this since the last show that I messed with it. And this was our beach quilt that I haven't finished yet, but I will be getting to it. And so we will see that. You will be seeing that again. One of the things that I'm committed to doing this year is finishing these things that I show you. When I sat down and did a year-end review last year, I had touched on 36 different projects. And when I work that fast, I don't finish them. Then they sit in piles, and then that makes me feel anxious. So I'm going to make sure to finish because I was always so busy in getting you the latest, greatest idea. I had to slow down just a little. All right. So we're going to start, besides that we're doing the Zen Safari, okay? Because I want to do more painting I love metallic fabric paints. And so I will be doing that. But then I said, I want another project. And I saw some picture of something that was so beautiful. So let me use my new laptop stand to turn this around. Let me turn off this light and show this. And after I show you a couple of these ideas, then we'll do show and tell. Then we'll come back and I'll show you my swing cover. All right. So we're going to talk about textile talks too. I'm going to show you that. Oh man, did he make this thing tight? What in the world? When Mark fixes something, he fixes it within an inch of his life. I'll see him. Let me bring this down now. It's a little high for me. Okay. I love this new stand. Really makes my life so much easier. All right. Let me turn off this light back here too. Let's go look. First thing I want to show you is, this is the block I was just working on. And let's see. I remember I told you I had a whole lot of half square triangles. So that's the one, that's our block 13. And I've got 3 more already started. All right, let me bring this down. I think, here is. Okay. If you have a piece of paper, or I tell you what, no, I don't want that. Hold on. Okay, right here. Let me cut and paste. Whoops. Let me cut and paste this. And let me come back a moment. Okay, for one scary moment. Take care, Diana, sweetheart. Okay, now let me paste. All right, there. Now you can go to the Sakwa site that has textile talks, and you can enter your email address. And the neatest thing, okay, so here, the one coming up this week, I think you'll love it. Right here, Thomas Nar. I think that's how you pronounce his name, and he's a quilter. And it's going to be free. I've got to register. Wednesday, June 7th at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Okay? But look at every Wednesday, they have a new speaker. And I was so impressed. I have seen the first one I saw with them, Kate Fassett, was live, and it's done like a Zoom format. And then I watched this woman this past week, who, oh my gosh, she does amazing fiber art. And just watching, and she combined, some of her angst with motherhood and thoughts of motherhood in her art. It was wonderful. Now, and I did make a donation too that will help. They say for every one of these Wednesday free textile talks, it costs them $54,000 in production. So I made a $10 donation. Don't feel like you have to. I wanted to support it because I am amazed. Now, let me see. Art Quilt Resources Video Showcase, I think. hold on. They keep, oh, they keep a record. All of these are taped, and there's 150 of these, and they're free for you to access. And they last about a half an hour to an hour each, and they are amazing. So you can view all videos. Let's see. They are wonderful and give you so many amazing ideas from so many top artists. So it's just absolutely amazing. And I highly recommend. Now you can just type in textile talks, because there are, I'm trying to think of who does, let me see. There's a group of 4. Let me do this. Let me go to, I'm just going to textile. And the neatest thing, okay, let me come up here. The different groups that belong to this consortium, they take turns. Surface Design Association. I'm trying to think of International Quilt Museum. There's all these different groups that work, and I highly recommend it. So here we go. Here it is. All right. Textile Talk, SAQA, Quilts, the San Jose Museum of Quilts and Textiles, International Quilt Museum, Surface Design Association, Modern Quilt Guild, and the Quilt Alliance. And so here it is, and they keep them up. Quilt Mania, empty spool seminars, 9-patch fabric, all kinds of different people. Look at this. And this is giving you the best that's out there for free. And that's amazing. And that way, if you feel like you can support it, do it. But, okay, this is the International Quilt Museum site. So you can go to any of the sites, and they'll probably, that are sponsors, and they'll probably, So this is just amazing. The internet has opened the world up to us. Please take advantage of that if you can, and put it on and then listen. Yes, they're all on YouTube. You're exactly right. And that way you can listen while you sew and learn from the best. Oh, good, Laura. I'm so glad you love them too. Yay. Okay, so that was Textile Talks. Then I want to enter, oh, no, I already have it somewhere. Let me see if I can find it right here. All right, do you see this right here? I saw this picture pop up when I was doing something, and I said, that is beautiful. And what I love the thread work, I love the quilting, and I love the working with small bits of fabric, like pixelated. This, I always think of Jody when I see things like this. And what you do is you break that flower down to kind of think of it as pixel bits of color. And I thought this would be a really good, especially with summer here, just about officially. And so what I want you to do is look around the internet and look for free, royalty-free photos you could use, or take one of your very own. And I'm going to show you how do we break this down to get the different colors. So you're going to have to go hunting in your stash to try to find the range. Like if you look at this flower, all right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's at least 9 colors of a peachy yellow. And so that means you really got to go and look through your scrap bag. And I think this is wonderful. This is my email that I had planned. Oh, here we go. I can copy this. Whoops, is it going to allow me to copy it? Hold on. This is the best tutorial for making the card square box. But this is what I was trying. I had this as my agenda today, and I couldn't print it out. Also, I am cleaning my room with my daughter Katie coming. I want to be down here with her, and it's filthy. But I'm doing a deep cleaning. I'm going through drawers. Sometimes as artistic types, we think, oh, I need to save that because that could be useful. But we end up saving too many. It's real easy to throw it in the drawer, but you don't take it out as fast as you really think you might. So I'm starting with all of the drawers here, and I'm going to consolidate, because if I do that, then I have room to put things away. And I'm going to reorganize and say, this is a good place to put this, and I think that's really going to help. So that was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. And let me come, and I'm going to come back and put, oh, did I lose y'all? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. Woo, that was scary. Okay. I know we're so good at saving, but then we need to learn to clean it out. And because you know what? What ends up happening? What ends up happening is then the clutter. Think of a river flowing, and the clutter kind of dams off the flow. And that's what happens to our creativity. So there's a fine line between I'm busy and I've got all of this to show for it, and clutter that's going to choke you. So that's what I'm trying to work on, that balance. All right. So now let's go to show and tell. I think I showed you everything I planned, but look around through your own group of photos and bring this over here. All right. Let's see. All right. So now, I didn't come all the way to the top. I was going to say, all right, Miss Alberta. Oh boy. She made this quilt for her granddaughter's wedding. It is so beautiful. I love it. I don't know if she quilted it herself, but it is wonderful. I learned this a long time ago, and it's not a hard and fast rule, but it can help. If you have a quilt that's very sharp shapes, geometric, often what I find I like doing too is to pick something soft and flowing. And that is a good counterpoint to the actual, pardon me, I've got hiccups. let me drink something. If you have all of these geometric shapes, counterbalance it with soft flowing loops and flowers. I think that's a brilliant idea. All right. Then, look at her apple pie. I tell you what, I smelled that pie all the way here. I said, oh, that looks so good. That with vanilla ice cream, I'm in heaven. Here is the back of that wedding quilt. And so see how happy and bubbly it looks. And it just sets off her quilting design even more. The quilting sets off the piecing design. So wonderful. Thank you, Miss Alberta, for sending us those. We love it. Good job. All right. Now we're going to Miss Betty. Miss Betty, I love this. And she just took a class. And am I seeing beading maybe or little crystals? But isn't this wonderful? So I'm hoping she's going to teach us. Like, how did she do all the color variations in the leaves? Was it careful cutting of printed fabric? Or did she use some ink tints or something? But I would love to know more about this. So that is wonderful. Way to go, Miss Patty. All right, let's see what we have now. And don't forget, send us your photos to OurTimeToQuilt at twc.com. We love show and tell. We are so inspired. This is Miss Beebe's, and she is so talented. Her use of color is extraordinary, and it shows her rich Persian heritage, which, you're talking about the areas of the world that invented so many beautiful things that we know of today. And I love when I see this. Beautiful. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? So I love that she quilts her heritage. Just amazing. And she does a wonderful stained glass. I love that hummingbird. You know what? That's another thing. I need to start a list because I want to do another stained glass quilt. I hope you would too. That sounds like fun. All right. So thank you, Miss Beebe. And then Miss Bonnie. I read she pulled out her sewing machine. It had been a couple months. And I love it. I know that Miss Bonnie is seeing well and doing well when she pulls out the machine. So way to go, Miss Bonnie. I love blue. Pretty, pretty. That's a table runner she's been working on. Now, whoops, no, I want to go back one. All righty. And I have a camp folder. All right. Whoops. Okay. I think I didn't start at the beginning. All right. Here we are in the camper, and you can see Mark was watching television and taking naps. And there's little Maisie with us. And then here are my big old feet sticking up because I'm on the other side in the couch watching TV and working on my paper beads. So this is what camp looked like just about every single day. And it was glorious. We loved it. Okay. Here were the parts of that house. And when I first started, oh, and here you get a chance to see what I was telling you about when, like, this is the newspaper printed. Here was supposed to be like a doily to sit on the furniture, the back of the cabinet. Here are the fronts of the books that you're going to make. All of these. Here are two of the pictures. Okay. Now let's see. Here it was when I was about half of the way through. Here's a close up. Here's the little paper lampshade down here. It was hard for me to stop. In fact, Mark heated up dinners those days. I pre-cooked food, and we have things like chili and spaghetti and barbecue and things like that that are very easy to make there. I wish I had taken pictures of some of the things I was actually making. And you can see it was kind of just overcast, rainy at the lake, and so it was a perfect chance to do this. Pictures Oh, look at this. This is a mushroom that I took a picture of before we left. And that would make a pretty good study itself. I took several different views trying to get, slightly different angles, trying to get the color. Here is where we go camping. It's called Carr Lake, and it's north of Durham, near the Virginia border. And it was created back in 1949 when they installed a hydroelectric dam to prevent flooding up the Roanoke River. And so this site is owned by the government, state of North Carolina, Corps of Engineers sets the rules. And so some years back, they had to make official little campsites with gravel and retaining walls, because one of the problems, like anywhere, is you have erosion, and erosion really threatens the land, the campsites themselves. So we've made the transition, and now we're used to it. Before, it was just you camp anywhere, but you can see down where they've had to lose trees, roots are exposed. So erosion is a problem, and I'm glad they're working on it. And here's another view from, this is the campsite we were on. And here's our electric. And then back here is the water hookup. We have electric and water. But this is a beautiful area. There was one of the storms were coming. We had plenty of rain. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Mostly it was overcast and sometimes drizzly. Only one morning, like at 4 a.m., it sounds like popcorn on the roof of the camper, and it was irritating. But another view of the lake. I love this lake more than I can tell you. I have grown up on this lake, and to me, it's where my soul feels at peace. This is Deb's area, spiritual place. To have gone out swimming, but let me go back a second. I didn't realize I had the camera too close. I just want to, what we love about this one particular part is it's not, and it was Memorial Day weekend, and nobody was there. I think people thought, no, it's going to be too cold and rainy, we're not going to bother. So Mark and I were tickled. We had, a lot of the time we had it to ourselves. But not a typical Memorial Day. I have to admit that. I like to take pictures and to use as, and it's got a paved road that gets you in to the different sites, but I love how natural they've left it. In fact, that you cannot cut down without permission any of anything. So, and we were coming home and we pull a trailer to put his motorcycle on. So I said, I'll have to take a picture of that so they can see this is how we were getting ready to leave the site. Here are bags of trash. So you take them to the dumpster on the way out, and then you stop the camper by the by the bathroom dump place. And thank God Mark does that. So this is, my daughter took this. Her phone has a panoramic setting, and she is with the Soil Conservation and state of Maryland on the Eastern Shore. And so this was during one of her farm calls the other day. This is a winter wheat field, and the winter wheat, they plant it in the fall, and it slowly grows over the winter, but it shoots up in the spring and then it dies. And what they have to do now is wait until it's the right dryness to go in and harvest it. And so straw are the stalks, and then the wheat, of course, are the little heads of wheat that they make flour with. But she used a panoramic setting, and that is just beautiful, isn't it? Oh, just a work of art. She said You know, the dew was very heavy, but it was so absolutely beautiful. She said there are days she absolutely loves what she does, and I don't blame her. Mm. Okay, so that was me. Now let's see who's next. Debbie. And let's look at this table and see Miss Debbie's quilts because they are something else. So I've been saying, oh, there is her, and didn't realize. I mean, look at this cardinal. I'm going to show y'all all this stuff. Then look at her wonderful, I don't know if you'd call it a Baltimore album or just a wonderful applique quilt here with all the different blocks. Then look at her wonderful curve piecing. And here is a landscape right there and other things. But I just love this. I just think this is wonderful. And when I enlarged it and said quilts by Debbie Holt, I was impressed. I was so impressed. So that's fantastic. Way to go. Let me see if I can look at this quilt. Oh, oh. I love both the cardinal and I love all of her applique, her ruching, her stuff work where she has done her punto with these shapes. So we are lucky to have Miss Debbie. She is very, very talented. Thank you, Miss Debbie. Okay, so I had to show you that. Then I think this was from a craft show. I'm forgetting now. It's been a bit. But look at, I love wooden bowls. Oh, I love that people care enough to create beautiful works of art. Some people might call it folk art, but I would put it against any art in the world. It's art from the heart. That's what I'll call it. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, just all kinds of works on display. Beautiful, beautiful. Anybody know what this quilt pattern is called? Tumbler. And what's nice about that too is it's one of those tessellation quilts where it's one shape repeated over and over that fills up the entire quilt. So that's fun. All right. Let's see who's next. All right. So thank you, Miss Debbie. Miss Jody. Yay. Well, you know, Miss Jody has been working on this amazing neutral quilt. And a couple people, Miss Cheryl, I think, sent her some squares. So that's lovely. Look at that. So now let's see. She took it, that's been quilted, and she had it quilted. And again, they used a nice flowing, soft quilting pattern. Whoops. Oh, here, Marie. A nice soft quilting pattern to go with the very geometric shape of the quilt. So here it is again. I'm not sure if you can see the flowing quilting pattern, but here's the back of it. But doesn't that look like, that makes me want to take a wonderful nap on a summer's day. That is lovely. Way to go, Miss Jody. Then a few weeks ago, Miss Jody took a wonderful class. I need to ask her. She talks about you can transfer this image to fabric. I'm not all sure exactly what that means, but boy, does that look fascinating and beautiful job on your painting, the metallics. It's just beautiful. So we'll have to have Miss Jody teach us about that. That's wonderful. Thank you, Miss Jody. I'm so glad you're back in the saddle again, hon. Okay, Miss Lisa, and I'm keeping her block of the weeks here because this is her nod to the 19th century, and I can't wait to see what her quilt's going to look like. Way to go. All right. Now, who is next? Miss Mary. Oh, Miss Mary has. Okay, if anyone knows what this shrub is, let Miss Mary know. I think it's something in the privet family, but I'm having a little hard time confirming that, but I do think it's in the privet family. Look at her beautiful plants, and I love that she's got a color theme in mind. That is beautiful, hon. Tomatoes and right. This looks like snapdragons. But and then dahlias. Oh, beautiful. And do you know that dahlias, or I think those are dahlias. No, they might not be. I don't know what that is. The leaf doesn't quite look like a dahlia. Huh. But did you know dahlias are edible? I didn't know that. I watched something last night. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Mm, just a beautiful setting. I love lantana. That's a lantana. Maybe that other one was a lantana. I don't know if you can eat lantanas. Don't try. Do not eat anything unless you are sure. I love alyssum. Oh my gosh, it's such a sweet smelling plant. Oh, those are beautiful, hon. Here is her nod to the 19th century. Love it. Her card trick. So that site that I gave you must be pretty good because that's a beautiful block. I love how her land backs up to the wilds of undeveloped land. How exciting. And I love her rose. I'm wondering, is that a knockout rose? I just trimmed my knockout roses down the other day because they had such a huge flush of bloom. So I trim them down to a set of 5 leaves and then they'll just put out again. They're wonderful. But this, again, is that shrub that's very big. And I'm hoping I've got a picture of the flowers on it. Here is her King's Coronation quilt. Love it. See all the crowns? Love it. Here are the flowers and the leaves. Notice it's a variegated bush, and I think that is a privet. But isn't it pretty? And I bet you it smells good too. Thank you, Miss Mary. We love anything, any pictures. Some if it makes you happy, it will make us happy. We would love to see it. So here's Miss Melanie. She's been busy catching up on her nod to the 19th century. And each person who does the blocks, they show a bit of their own selves. I absolutely love her fabric choices. Each person has done such a great job, and it gives a different feel to the quilt. Look at that. Mm. This was another quilt. This is a string quilt she had done. And here is another block. And if you look, you will see the movement that the fabric design makes. So just remember that a lot goes into making a block, not just color, not just pattern, but fabric design. Here's a crabapple that was blooming a few weeks ago, and look at this one. Talk about movement. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. I think that was the last one. So keep sending us your photos. We love them. Right. Now, Miss Melton. And don't forget, Miss Melton has a wonderful Etsy site. And I even have it on our I think the last Sunday video we did. If I can remember, I'll put a shortcut to it on this one. And because I love it that, it's harder in large parts of Europe, it's harder to get the quilt fabrics. We're really spoiled here in the US. So I love that she can sell some of her items and get more fabric and do more creating. But look at that pouch. She does really exquisite work. Look at how careful. I mean, she's a true artist. And her Etsy products include the free shipping. So, unless it states otherwise, but I think that's amazing. And, we can all use more pouches and carry-alls. I love how she puts the little tabs in them. And look at the different directions she sews to really create interest. That's the touch of an artist because she really cares about the details. There's this one, all beautifully lined. Oh, isn't that pretty? And I love that she's got a little tab to make them easier to carry. So way to go, Miss Melton. All right, now let's see. Nancy Lynn, I wanted to show a couple of her latest designs. And this looks like she has embellished this with all kinds of wool. I don't know if she felts them into the fabrics, but there are so many forms of art now. And I think this is just wonderful. So this has got a tactile sense as well as the visual. And you can felt wool or acrylic wool onto cotton muslin or any cotton fabric and end up with a beautiful, beautiful picture. And here she's done a lot of the same thing. This is, look, you see the wool right in here where she has put it in. I love her stitching of the grasses, her embellishing. Look at these little flowers and things. And then the little bit of the dark wool to show the footprints in the sand. Some of the circle. I love the way she did the circle around the ups and downs of the ruffled sand. And by using a lighter color that has a little bit of shine to it, it really highlights, it brings that lighter color in. And the way she used this roping around the edge is amazing. That just really adds to the theme. And here she is. So I love her work. It all has a tactile feel to it because by her cane, I think that she is visually impaired. So when you notice her work, notice that it not only has the color, but it has a depth of texture. Way to go, Miss Nancy Lynn. All right, now let's see. Miss Polly took a class too. I love this. Look at this wonderful work. All kinds of collaging of fabrics. She did a beautiful job. I love all the different colors to emphasize the different roof angles and colors. It's just beautiful. So I love Miss Polly loves learning, and she does a great job of keeping herself constantly learning. All right, I'm thinking that today Miss Polly is our last gal. So if any of you want to share your photos, please do, because we absolutely love it. Now, if I can turn this very tight camera around, I think Mark and I are going to talk about how do we make sure we have the connection firmly attached without impinging on my ability to move the camera. Okay, so now let me bring this around. Oh my goodness gracious, what has he done? Oh goodness. Finally, you have to be really careful. Like if he messes with my sewing machine and I'll say, "Oh, do you mind putting back on the thread plate?" I will never again be able to get the screws loose. He's like, "I didn't tighten it too tight, did I?" Like, no, you just kind of did a little manual weld of it. I can't get it undone. All right. So don't forget, if you have little pieces of a spongy material. We're going to do a project, a fun little, if we were together, I'd call it a make it, take it. And I will give you all the directions and information next week. It would probably be good to have a hot glue gun and some glue sticks and a fabric that's your prettiest color. And if you have puffy paints, that's a great thing. If not, if you have little bits, little silk flowers, you could have those. A ribbon that's about 9 inches, 10 inches long. And if you have any little Velcro dots, I have some. Here they are. If you have any little Velcro dots, that would be a good, you only need one of each side. If you don't have Velcro dots, make one or just cut a little square of each side of the Velcro. So, that isn't your work. It's just, oh, I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. It was my fault, hon. I am so sorry. But so anyway, but just remember a piece of ribbon. I'll put this on our group's IO. And if you'd like to join our group's IO, or it's my fault, Miss Polly. I'm sure you told me that and it just whoop right out of my head. But if you want to get any of our free patterns, Our Time to Quilt at twc.com. Oh, it's so much easier to type with this. Let me see if I can show it to you. So, see this stand? It is wonderful. And it's totally adjustable and it spins around and makes my life much easier. All right, everybody. I definitely need a haircut this week. I'm kind of going flat here. So when it gets too long, and look at this. I'm no longer blonde. Well, I guess I am, but I'm kind of silver now. But I've got to decide, do I want to stay silver or do I reach for the bottle of hair dye? So there's something to be said for being natural, and there's something to be said for having a little sparkle too, you know? All right, I think I have covered everything. Besides getting some little sponge foam little pieces, besides getting some of those and those little supplies, be looking for a picture of a flower that you'd like to create in fabric. And we'll start that next week too. But anyway, here is the little room of my dreams, back off in the woods where no mosquitoes live. It's always perfect temperature. It never rains. And that's where I'm going to be. See my little books on this bench? Look at that. Isn't that cute? All right, everybody. You have a great day. Oh, one thing more. I forgot. I'm going to get ready and make a new awning for my side door. If you could see that awning, it is a mess. Here is my swing cover made out of OtterTex, and I get it from the fabric warehouse, fabric wholesale, and they have the best price. And this is my swing cover. And I had to put in these run the support pipes through, and then this is going to be my end pieces. And I took and ripped off my Velcro from my old one. My old one, that the fabric was so UV damaged, it was just coming apart. But I ripped off the Velcro to reuse it because that was still good. So by the end of today, I will have my 6 feet long swing cover hopefully back on my swing. And then tomorrow, I will use this OtterText and put a new awning for my side door over here. So I'll show you before and after pictures. Yes, I can't believe I'm going to show you, but I will. All right, then, this last little thing here. This was an old little duffel bag style suitcase that was just used up, and it wasn't expensive. The reason I'm showing you this is I'm going to scavenge a lot of this stuff off here, like this pocket right here with the zippers in place. Look at this with this kind of closure and this pocket right there. Then the end, well, some of the netting has seen better days, but I will cut off the netting that's still good. You can buy this stuff nowadays, but it's hard to find, and why spend more money? Then this already has nice sturdy Velcro on it, the handles. So I'll take off all the tape, and I even save this. I will save this zipper. I have before, I'll have to show it to you soon. I have made a traveling sewing accessories bag that's pretty big. And gosh, you could even save these little feet if you wanted to make something that stands up. But, I will definitely save the netting because I can take and make a new bag with all of these. And that's the hardest thing is we can all find great fabric to use to make just the right little tote, but having the hardware is another thing. So I will take and cull what I need off of this. The rest goes in the trash. I just wanted to show you that. All right, I'm done. And I'm hungry. I'm going to go get something to eat. So take good care of yourself. I'm cracking you up. I'm a mess. I always tell Mark, I'm a mess. And yeah, the awning over the side door gives us some shelter from the rain. But unfortunately, I don't care what fabric you put on this, the UV damage, just be prepared every 3 or 4 years. Make a new one to put it up. And that fabric I get is at the most $10 a yard. And it is a nice waterproof and UV resistant. And I think it's either Fabric Warehouse or Fabric Wholesale. And they're wonderful. The prices are so good. All right, everybody, take good care of yourself. Be thinking about me this week. I've got to clean the house for my daughter's visit. I got to clean this room. And this room is a big job. Take good care. Do something nice for yourself, okay? Mwah. Bye-bye, everybody. It's so good to see all of y'all. I missed you terribly. All right. Take good care. So nice seeing you. Thank you, Miss Marcia, for being the hostess with the mostest heart. You are the best. All of you, so good seeing you. Thank you. Bye-bye.